So if you know this song, I want you to fucking sing it with me. Are you ready, Stinky D's? Come on, dog. Thank you. Good night.
If one of my favorite bands did that as an encore, I would have been hella pissed. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. So, it's the first episode of 2025 and we're actually doing this. Oh my god. I really didn't want to do a video podcast, but I'm like, come on, let's go ahead and give it a chance, because why not? I don't know how this is going to go, honestly. So, with the many changes that are happening with the podcast, there's a possibility that we might not have a usual schedule. So, just expect the podcast when it goes up, and it goes up. So, yeah, once I get used to this whole shebang, maybe possibly we will have a set schedule of when these episodes are going to be released. But then again, I'm like, I'm always structured with these episodes. Sometimes I was like, you know what, let's do it every Sunday because it's one of my free days. But there's always things happening to where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to have to record. And since we're doing video podcasts, it's going to take some time to edit. So I'm not going to say when exactly this episode is going to be out. But hey, if you're listening, thank you for taking the moment and listen. So yeah, but the video podcast is, I think it's only available on Spotify, but if worst comes to shove, mostly all episodes are going to be available in every single platform, like in audio format. And if you just want to see what's going on like in the actual video, feel free to go to the YouTube channel. That's why it's there. So what do I have planned for 2025? Well, for sure, I really want to do this video podcast, see how it goes. And again, editing is going to take some time, but it actually helps me to upload like recap videos of what you may have missed like throughout this episode. And I'll upload it on my social media literally throughout the week. So that's why I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and do this and see how it goes. And then you guys get to see what's happening, obviously, with me. Of course, if you guys have not been here before, some of you guys are familiar with my background. So you're going to see this main background as much as possible. Of course, I do collect Funko Pops and all of that. So let me do like a really quick reintroduction since we're going to kick off 2025 like with a bang and all that. So I'm Lielers. I am somebody that is a fan of many things. Just know that. It's strange for people to hear some of their favorite things being mixed with a whole different thing. So what I mean by that, I love movies. I love watching TV. Everything that has to do with pop culture, that's me. The thing about it as well is my music taste is really different, because some people expect like, oh, if you're watching like some of the most popular movies or TVs, people would think I would listen to normal music, which I do not. And that's the thing. Some people are like, well, whatever you listen to is technically considered normal. But in my case, every time I mention it, people are like, who are they? So I listen to metal. I listen to hard rock, heavy metal kind of genre. And that's what I usually keep track of what's been going on in the music category. Sometimes I do get a little bit of pop here and there. But I know for sure, I mentioned before in the previous episodes, I am not a big fan of country music. I hate country with a passion. And I live in Texas, so country is big over here. But no, I don't take the time to listen to country music. The only thing I do listen to, maybe like 3 songs from there. And it's only whenever I'm heartbroken. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever went to the phase where you're going through it and you're like, oh, let me listen to some country music, and for some reason you're vibing with it. And that's how I feel. I think I only got heartbroken like once, and I was like listening to country music like there was no tomorrow, but it was always like the one song on repeat. Like, I don't like to expand my knowledge of music when it comes to country music. But then again, if you remember, like on one of the episodes we did before where we were talking about Ronnie Radke collaborating with Jelly Roll and bringing on Yeehaw Core, there was a lot of artists after that were collaborating with country artists. I think I mentioned Papa Roach and Carrie Underwood. And then Post Malone, for some reason, he just changed his like music genre to a different level. But then again, that's another thing where I'm going through with my music taste. It's not always like just rock, heavy metal, all of that. Sometimes I mention, again, I listen to some pop here and there. Kind of think of it like Sleep Token, for example. Sleep Token has no set genre whatsoever. So what you listen to, don't expect it to be hard rock. Don't expect it to be heavy metal. Maybe some pop, maybe some rap at that too. But that's how it is with my music taste, kind of like a mixture of all things. And in this podcast, we do talk about what's been going on, probably in the rock genre, and to see like what tour announcements has been going around. So I kind of keep you guys covered in that. And when I say by kinda, not a lot of favorite bands, artists that you may think, wait a second, how come she didn't mention this? Because I never heard of them, probably. But besides my music, movies, all of that kind of taste, then comes in the category wrestling. I love wrestling. I've been watching wrestling since I was like, 4 years old. I always say that because I think that's when I start getting a memory. I don't know what's the earliest memory I have, like growing up. I just remember watching wrestling. Like at the time, it was like at a VHS tape, but we would like pre-record it and watch it. And I kind of have like, like a vague memory of it, but that's all I remember like growing up is watching wrestling. So there were times where I would literally watch wrestling only on Fridays because we didn't grow up with cable because we were poor and all that. But later on, when I moved to Alabama, so I grew up in Alabama. That's why I'm like, most of my memories are there. That's why I always say Alabama's my hometown, even though I'm from Texas. So, but aside from that, yeah, like I watch wrestling like vigorously, religiously, however you guys want to say it. Back when I was in Alabama, because for some reason where we were living at, we have free cable. So I was like, hey, So I will watch wrestling Monday, Friday at the time. And I will always be up to date with what's been happening. But then there was like a period between when I was in 9th grade all up until I graduated where I didn't watch wrestling at all. Why? Because we were poor. We didn't have cable. Hell, I didn't even have a TV at the time. I slept in the floor last time I checked. And then afterwards, finally when I started working, all right, let's get the internet going on. Let's get cable. And yeah, I've been watching wrestling ever since. So I really love watching, well, not only WWE, I also watch AEW, but if you guys have been listening to the podcast this previous year in 2024, oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that. Like at first, I would like talk about AEW and WWE, and I'm just like, yes, wrestling is back. It's popular and everything. But then AEW started going into a shift where I'm just like, this is not entertaining anymore. It's like boring, if you ask me. And I started to realize that AEW's storyline just didn't click anymore. And I'm not saying like, oh, you need to stop watching it. No. No matter what, I don't choose sides when it comes to like WWE and AEW or TNA or, AAA or, all of those wrestling leagues. I never choose sides because at the end of the day, we got to support wrestlers because that is their job. That's their career. And no matter where they go, yeah, sure, let's go ahead and support it. But don't think like, oh, just because they left one company, they're over there betraying them and going with the competition. We've seen it, of course, with Cody Rhodes and now with Ricochet. And hopefully not with Samantha Irving because, she left as, this well-known announcer in WWE. And then all of a sudden she left and people are thinking that she's going to go to AEW to join her hubby, Ricochet. So I don't think that's going to be the case, but still, you just never know. But either way, I love whatever's been happening, even behind the scenes. Like, of course, congratulations to WWE because now, officially on Monday, unless if you're already watching this after that, which, again, I don't know when this is going to get uploaded, but WWE is now on Netflix. And I'm just like, I never thought we would be in the era where, well, I mean, it was bound to happen. But it's the era where everybody is going to go to streaming services. Forget radio, forget television. And I'm pretty sure some people are over there getting offended by me saying that. But it's true because we're already in the digital age where everybody is going to the internet. Whatever is available on the internet, that's where people are going to be consuming the media. Of course, I'm always on social media. Whatever I find on there is how I get the news for this podcast. So Yeah, that age is finally here. WWE making that big step can only lead to so much. Of course, there's other TV series, like for example, Squid Game, that's going around like crazy. Everybody's all over Netflix. But then there's other TV series, like for example, Yellowstone, which actually wrapped up last December. They were actually having the episodes available on Paramount Plus and then also on cable, so you got the options to watch it either or. But that's the thing, like most of these episodes are going to be releasing in streaming platforms, not on television anymore. So I don't know when the whole thing is going to officially die down, but for right now, I know I hate it because a lot of people are saying I don't want to be spending X amount of money on Netflix, and yet I'm spending X amount of money on Peacock, Disney Plus, and all of these other streaming services. But I don't know, that's the age that we're in, so yeah. But anywho, aside from wrestling, I also do talk about some gaming as well. So this one is usually in between music and wrestling category. I really don't talk much about it because I don't game anymore. I used to be a gamer, literally about to be 10 years ago. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying that. But 10 years ago exactly, I used to be a diehard gamer. I would literally be playing like either PlayStation or Xbox, and then eventually, I think, did I play the Switch at the time? Has the Switch been out since then? I don't even remember. But other than that, like I used to game a lot. So I still have that nostalgia of, who knows, maybe I'll probably pick up a controller and play again. But there's times where I'm either bored or I just don't have enough time to play video games because I have a life. And that life consists of me, working literally Monday to Friday. Having weekends off, sure, it's nice and all, but I'm mostly running errands. And if that's not it, of course, I'm over there, playing with my Frenchie named Cosmos. So Cosmos currently sleeping right now. She is on the side. If you're watching this on video, she's like on this side over here. She's knocked out of sleep. And that's what I love about her, because she knows it is time to record a podcast, meaning that she gets to be napping while I'm over here yapping around. Get it? But yeah, no, like that's a little quick introduction about me. In case if you guys did not know more about me, of course, you can continue on listening to this podcast and you'll get to learn more and more about me. The thing about this podcast is I used to upload literally religiously every week. But then there was times where, like, for example, back in 2022, because I started this podcast in 2021. In 2022 and maybe at the beginning of 2023, there were gaps over there where I wouldn't upload at all, maybe for like 6 months straight. And, part of me was because I was busy. I was currently going to college or university and all of that. And I graduated, thank God. I graduated back in 2023. And then after that, I was like, all right, let's finally do this damn podcast, because it's been a passion of mine to connect with people all around the world. Because not only I get listeners from the United States, I also get listeners from Germany. Germany is my second most listened country, and shout out to them, by the way. But there's other people all over across the world that are listening, and I don't know how y'all found this podcast, but hello, welcome, and all of that. And I just like talking to people about the things that I love. So that's why I'm like, let's go ahead and do this, why not? So yeah, there was that gap between 2022 and 2023. And then after that, I was like, let's go ahead and upload. But obviously, I am human. There are times where I need to go ahead and take breaks and whatnot. Literally a couple weeks ago, we took breaks for Thanksgiving and Christmas break because, I gotta go spend time with the family. Or whenever I do take breaks, it's usually because there's a blog video that's gonna be coming out. So that's something I started doing in 2024. The very first blog video I did was in May for Memorial Weekend, where I went to Mexico City for the first time, technically for me. The only reason why I say that is because I went to Mexico City back then when I was a child, which I have no memory of, by the way. So whenever I went, I was like, see, these are the things where I don't even remember. Like, I've seen it on TV, I've seen it on social media, but actually being like there present, it's like, yeah, no, this is technically my first time. And then after that, the second blog video, which is probably one of my favorites, was me visiting the Houston Horror Film Festival, where I actually got to meet Bonnie Aarons from The Nun. We had a little chat and all of that. And then I took a picture with Ken Kersinger, who played Jason Voorhees in Freddy vs. Jason. And Freddy vs. Jason happens to be my favorite horror movie of all time. It was literally the first one that I saw, and I even mentioned it on the blog video where I still know the beginning of the line of the movie, which is, you know, my children from the very beginning, it was the children who gave me my power. You know, stuff like that. So like, that's a blog video y'all should definitely check out. And then my second favorite was when I actually went to Dallas to go see Slipknot perform their 25th anniversary tour. And they were joined with special guests Vended and Knock Loose. And then not only that, just to top it off, literally the next day after that, I went to go see Slaughter Prevail. I always say like it's my favorite band, but not really, because Slipknot to this day is my favorite band of all time. But Slaughter Prevail is my top band of 2024. It's the band that I'm currently listening to. I'm a big, huge fan of them. If you're watching this like on YouTube and whatnot, you can actually see the Alex Terrible mask that's in the background. I got it with my favorite color, which is purple. Well, second favorite color, with my favorite color is black. But people would say, well, black is not really a color, you have to pick one, so I go with purple. So I'm like, there we go. I think he had a black mask, but I'm like, no, purple looks kind of cute. But yeah, I went to go see Slaughter Prevail, and they were actually the second opening band act. The first one was Funeral Portrait, but then after that it was Slaughter Prevail, and then Marilyn Manson performed after them, and then Five Finger Death Punch. But I had to work the next day, so I was like, sorry, Five Finger Death Punch, I gotta go. So either way, I'm like, I got to see them. You know, I listened to Marilyn Manson when I was a teenager, and you know, Slaughter Prevail, I actually discovered them in the beginning of last year in 2024 when I found out that the lead singer Alex Terrible literally likes almost the same things I did. We're like almost the same age, almost. But the thing is that, like, because we kind of grew up around, you know, again, that same era, we like the same things. So I'm like, I'm like, we could be best friends if you think about it. But either way, that's a whole different story. But yeah, no, whenever I saw him, I was like, wait a second, he's in a band called Slaughter Prevail, and it rings a bell. Like, I think I heard of them back then. And I don't know if they toured with other bands beforehand, because I know they just got like into the US not too long ago. But I think maybe their music came around, especially like Alex making like a mix for the Doom video game. So I was like, I don't know if that was what I listened to, who knows. But the band rung a bell, and then when I listened to the album, I was like, okay, I like this kind of music. Even though it's Russian, I was like, I don't give a shit, it's actually really good. So definitely go listen to them while you can. But yeah, so that was the blog video that I did, and that one was a pretty long blog video. It was almost 2 hours, but it happened, so thank God. And then the most recent blog video that we have right now that's up on the YouTube channel is whenever I went to SpaceCon, which happened to be in San Antonio. And I got to take a picture with Giancarlo Esposito, which, you know, some of you guys know him as Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. And we're pretty sure by now, mostly all listeners should know I'm a diehard Breaking Bad fan, but not diehard. I don't know what I'm diehard about. Like, there's so many things that I like, but I don't know what I would consider diehard. Maybe Slipknot, because I know most of their lyrics, so I don't know. But I got to meet him. He was a really funny guy and everything. Kind of sassy, if you ask me, but that's his personality, and I love it. But yeah, I really love Breaking Bad. Obviously, I mentioned this before in the podcast. Like, I actually went to New Mexico twice in a row already. I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico once for the first time in 2017, and then the most recent one back in 2023. I like just going around and looking at wherever, you know, the show was basically recorded at, and I got to see like Jesse Pinkman's house. I got to see Walter White's house, which we're going to be talking about that just a bit. It wasn't just Giancarlo Esposito that I got to take a picture of. Well, at SpaceCon, yes. But like before, I have met Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul in the past before. And literally right before I was going to go to Albuquerque in 2023, I actually got to take a picture of them right before I was going to head out, because they were visiting here in Houston. And I was like, worth it. It was a good ass experience. They're sweethearts. I love them, you know, so yeah. There was that. So definitely go check out those blog videos that are available on my YouTube channel. And of course, now you'll be able to see this podcast on there. So there's that. So hopefully we'll see how this is going to go, only because Again, I don't know how my patience is gonna be when it comes to editing these videos. By the way, I do this all by myself. So there's that. I know sometimes when I mention like words like we, us, it's me, but sometimes describing myself as another entity. But no, everything is done by myself, you know, the editing, all of this. So yeah, props to me. Hooray. For the past, 3 years, 4 years, 3 years. I've been doing this, and I mean, I've been getting good at it in a way. I actually listened to some of my previous episodes from the beginning stages, and oh my god, there was a lot of work to do right there. But yeah, only practice makes perfect, of course, and thank God for editing, because I'm pretty sure this video was longer and I condensed it into what it is now. So there's that. But enough about me. So this week we're gonna be talking about like the biggest movies, video games, and possibly new music that's gonna be coming out this coming year in 2025. And then I'm also gonna be talking about Squid Game collaborating with Call of Duty. Like, this is what's been happening so far this past week in pop culture. And then lastly, we're going to dive into WWE coming into Raw. Some predictions here and there that I have to talk about before the episode premieres, which again, I'm recording this on a Sunday. Just know that. I'm always recording on Sundays, but by the time this video comes out, who knows when that will be. I don't even know. Future me will take over on that one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode started. So we're going to be kicking off with the one thing I mentioned right now, which was the Walter White house. I know it's not pop culture related, but that's my thing. Everybody that's a fan of Breaking Bad wants to hear this. And I'm like, yeah, I did not know this was happening. So in case you guys didn't know, the Walter White house from Breaking Bad is now up for sale. And it's being listed for $4 million. What the? Talk about greedy though. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts about this in a bit, but this is what it says so far on Culture Crave. Thank you again. It says house averages 300 visitors a day, to the point that owners had to put up a fence after calling in a bomb squad over a mystery package. And then it also says that people have regularly been scammed into thinking they rented it out. One person even showed up in a Speedo after paying a scammer thousands to swim in the pool. And apparently, I don't know, somebody that posted this article where Culture Crave got it from, it says, quote, I hope they make it what the fans want. They want a B&B, they want a museum, they want access to it, go for it. And this is what I mean. So when I first went to the Breaking Bad house back in 2017, I actually did the Breaking Bad RV tour. However, RV was not provided at the time of the tour. I think it was going through maintenance. I don't remember, but we were just in a black SUV. And supposedly the tour guide knew the homeowner. And homeowner, apparently she sat there literally every single day just to, you know, curse off the tourists and all of that. So I want to see it in two ways, but because I'm a diehard fan, I'm leaning towards into more like, okay, I see it on the fan perspective than, you know, with her. Because with her, obviously, the show became what it is. Obviously, it was so famous. It won Emmys, all of that. And everybody, including myself, wanted to see how the house looked. And with her, she was like, no, fuck y'all, this is my home. And apparently her and her family have been living in that house for generations. I don't know how many years we're talking about, but still, she has a ton of memories for it. At the same time, it's like, you know, common sense. If you're going to sign up your house to be in a TV series, you're going to expect some kind of fame. So, like, she kind of should have thought about it at first, but then Breaking Bad again became this big thing. So now she's facing the consequences of seeing visitors. And of course, because she hates the show so much and, you know, all of it, she's going to be cursing off fans and whatnot. I think I remember before I went to go visit the house, there was like a news report that some fan, and this was before they put up a fence, some fan actually like threw a pizza on the roof, kind of like commemorating on one of the episodes where Walt actually, you know, was all pissed and he threw the pizza on the roof and whatnot. So because of that, they ended up putting a fence. And when I went to visit again back in 2023, the fence was there, and I was like, oh, hey, you know. But I actually took pictures before and after, like before they put up a fence and then after the fence. Honestly though, but it is what it is, and that's where I'm leaning towards with this news article. If they do sell this house, you know, again, potentially for $4 million, will the new owner take the fence down or not? That's my thing, and that's another thing that I'm talking about. I feel like this is a really good investment for the future potential owners who are willing to pay for that money, because some people will love to see like some kind of museum of it. So in case you guys don't know, when I went to Albuquerque back in 2023, there is a Breaking Bad store in Old Town, Albuquerque. It's literally close to downtown, and I actually went there in 2017, but the Breaking Bad store didn't exist at the time. It was like new or something. I don't know when they built it. But in 2023, like the owner who opened the shop, obviously he sells a bunch of like Breaking Bad memorabilia, merchandise, all of that. And then like right next to the other room, there's like a little hallway. He actually like collected a bunch of the stuff that actually came from the sets of the show. Some of it, like he even recreated it. Like for example, there was a spot where you can take pictures and it looks like you're in Saul Goodman's lawyer office, whatever. And then there's another one where you can actually sit in the wheelchair of Hector Salamanca, and you can actually ring the bell, but the bell doesn't ring, just so y'all know. And across throughout the whole room, some of it, like some of the stuff that the guy had was signed by the cast members, but he has it all in there. So my suggestion is, what if that owner were to buy this house and then move the Breaking Bad store into the house itself? You know how much revenue that person could have just for all of that combined? Honestly, but then again, $4 million, that is a lot of money. So I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Aside from that, the other thing that you could possibly do, the Airbnb it. Like a lot of people, especially like for example Twilight, like you can actually get the Airbnb at Bella's house in Forks, Washington, and have like the Twilight experience. And I think Yellowstone too, they're doing that on Airbnb, but it's hella expensive because that also includes the ranch as well. And they make lots of money for it, and a lot of fans are willing to pay for it. Now, if they were to do an Airbnb with this house itself, I'm like, that could actually do so well. Hell, I would be willing to do it too, shit, if I had the money for it. But yeah, there's like so many things you could possibly do with this house. God forbid tear it down too, because I know some people, like if this lady would have tear this house down, she would have a long time ago, but thank God she did it. But I'm not throwing ideas for people who are rich that just want to piss off fans. All I'm saying is please don't. Even if they do an Airbnb, it will make sense to just keep the fence just to avoid other future tourists. But I feel like the museum would be a good idea at the same time, given in the neighborhood that it is in. Like there is that street that's in front of the house where people could park and visit. But I feel like parking would be so cluttered, and maybe the rest of the neighbors will probably be pissed about it. I don't know, but yeah, all I know is that so far this house is still for sale. Nobody has decided to make like an offer for it. So who knows what's gonna happen in the future. But what I can tell is it looks like I'm gonna go back to Albuquerque soon. So there's that. Expect a blog video for that. That's if you know if it happens or not. But yeah, we'll see. Other news before I dive into the rest of the categories. This news is for my OG Cartoon Network fans, for those that have grew up watching the cable channel. So if you guys didn't know, Cartoon Network actually shut down its website. So if you were to look up Cartoon Network and actually go, like for example, the website, you won't see it. You might probably see the cartoonnetwork.ca website. That's not it. I think that's the Canadian website. And you would see like a few things here and there, but like I went to Wikipedia, and on there it has the link to the original Cartoon Network website, and it actually says dead link. But when you click on it, it redirects you to Max, because it looks like Warner Brothers took that into its platform on HBO Max. But my thing is that this is what I hate. not all of the Cartoon Network shows that I grew up watching are not there. Like, one of my favorites was The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. It's not here. I see Courage the Cowardly Dog. I see the Powerpuff Girls. I see Wee Baby Bears. I need to see Weeby Bears. I know that for sure. I need to put that on my list. They're so adorable, but I did not watch it. Then we have Teen Titans Go, Adventure Time, and that's pretty much all I see in this little link that we have. But other than that, like, if you guys grew up watching Cartoon Network and had the luxury of having internet, I only say that because I think we briefly had internet, but then it got taken away. You will actually go to the Cartoon Network website and play video games, and oh my god, you would get lost on that. That was like our Xbox at the time, or PlayStation for kids. So I remember that. But of course, now after 32 years, the website is now shut down, and it's so sad. This is what I mean, like, cable channels are slowly dying off. Oh my god, I don't know what the future holds, but yeah, it is what it is. But anywho, let's go ahead and kick off the movies category. I'm going to go ahead and start off with IGN's list of biggest movies that are going to be coming out in 2025. And we're going to, like, the way how they have it in order from, like, the beginning of the month, which is January, all up until TBA, which is the movies that have been announced, but yet we don't know when it's going to get released. So far, if you guys have not seen the trailer for Wolfman, and I want to say, I could have sworn I saw Jacob Elordi in there. It's like a horror movie, but I don't know, like, horror movies nowadays, they don't bring any attention to me. At the same time, I was like, it's Jacob Elordi, like, come on, give it a chance. I don't know, we'll see if I watch it or not. I still haven't watched Sonic 3. I'm sorry, guys. I've been busy, but yeah, I haven't seen Sonic 3, and Wolfman is actually going to be coming out in January 17th. So if you guys are interested in watching, like, a new different kind of horror movie, there you go. Another thing I did pay attention, though, I noticed that most of the times in the month of January, they tend to release, like, horror movies that just don't do well in the movie theaters. But anywho, and speaking of which, literally the day after my birthday, on January 24th, we're going to have Star Trek Section 31. I didn't even see the trailer for this, so I can only assume it's not going to be doing so well. Oh my god. But anywho, let's go on to February. We're going to have The Witcher, Sirens of the Deep. Are you sure this is a movie and not a series? Just saying. So there's that. On February 14th, literally on Valentine's Day, we're going to be getting Captain America Brave New World. And that is definitely another movie I am going to watch. I'm a big, huge fan of Marvel movies. There are days where I probably quote a Marvel movie, whether if it's Avengers, whether if it's like fucking like in the beginning stages like Captain America, Iron Man, all of those movies. I sometimes get away with quoting the movies like every single day, so there's that. But I really do want to watch it, even though the hype for the new Captain America is not there. I need to watch it just in case. I miss all of these like Easter eggs that they have from previous movies, and they bring it into this kind of movie. And I think the last time we got the hype was literally Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah. But anywho, let's go ahead and move it along with the list. The same day, February 14th, we're also going to be getting Paddington in Peru. I don't know what to say about that. And then especially February 21st, The Monkey. IGN, I thought you said the biggest movies. These are movies that I never watch or never heard of. Like, I haven't even seen the trailers. And that's my thing. We see a lot of trailers in this podcast, and some of them where it's like too hype. We're like, okay, we need to talk about it. We need to, put like when it's going to get released. Some of these have not been in the podcast, so I'm just like, this is the first time I'm hearing about them. The other one is on February 28th, The Legend of Oki or Ochi. I want to say it's Oki though. Again, doesn't ring a bell. On March 7th, there's going to be Sinners. Okay, this one, yes, I have heard of. I don't know. It still doesn't. We'll see. It just depends. Okay, we'll see if I watch it or not. And then, who knows? If I do a movie review, probably be a spoiler-free. Not a spoiler one for sure. On March 14th, we're going to be getting the movie Black Bag, which, again, never heard of. March 21st, Snow White. This one, we have talked about it. The only thing I hate about this is because it's going to be a live action movie. already, I think I've talked about it before in previous episodes. I am not a huge fan of either cartoon or animated movies from Disney turning into live action. It is so unnecessary. Okay, and I've said my hate towards the Lion King movie, you know, becoming a live action. And then that movie right now that's in theaters, Mufasa's out. It didn't do that well in the box office, but it's doing like fair enough. You know, it didn't beat Sonic, just saying. My brother did get to go watch it with my nieces and, you know, his whole family. And he was telling me that, you know, it was sad. It made the girls cry. And I'm over here like, okay, I like watching sad movies, but again, like Mufasa, it's a live action. No, not my cup of tea. So same thing with Snow White. I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this one, guys. I am so sorry. You guys are huge Disney fans, go for it. But it's not my cup of tea, so there's that. Anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. On March 21st, we're gonna have Alto Nights. Again, no idea. But on April 4th, now we're talking, because we talked about this one before. We're going to be getting a Minecraft movie. Literally, it's called a Minecraft movie, not like Minecraft, the movie, you know? So that's why I'm like, what the what's going on over here, you know? But hey, you know what? It is what it is. Either way, this one for sure, I'm going to watch it. I don't know if it's going to be like Sonic, where I don't watch it on the weekend, like when it premieres, maybe like later on. We'll see. And then we're also going to be getting Mickey 17. That rings a bell. Ugh. Here is my Sleeping Beauty Cosmo you're watching on YouTube or on video podcast. Anywho, Mickey 17 is that movie we talked about. I think this one is where he gets cloned into different versions of himself. So you would see multiple Robert Pattinson. This one, I'm not too overhyped about it. It's mostly like, I would probably watch it maybe like if it goes on a streaming service. Like, that's how it's gonna be. It's not something I'm too hyped about. So there's that. And then April 25th, I still haven't seen the trailer for it. We haven't talked about it. But rumor has it we're going to be having the Until Dawn movie. Where's the damn trailer for this, you know? So Until Dawn, it has to be by the video game Until Dawn. This one I'm definitely going to be watching it because, you know, I played the video game back then. That's how you know. That's how you know. But for sure, I am interested in watching it just to see what it's all about. But then again, my expectations are very low when it comes to these movies, like from video games turned into movies. So there's that. And then the next one on the list on May 2nd is Thunderbolts with the asterisk next to it. I have no idea why. But yes, that one for sure, I'm going to be watching it. You best believe there's going to be a movie review for it. And again, that expectation is really high because we're going to be introduced to superheroes that we've seen in the past, but now they're finally teaming up in this group. And then alongside with Bucky Barnes. So there's that. And then the next one is on May 23rd. We have two movies coming out on that day. The first one is going to be Lilo and Stitch. And again, I know I mentioned the live action shit just now, but now I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite because I really do want to see how this movie's going to be on the big screen, even though it's going to be live action. So yeah, I'm going to watch it, but no, there will not be like a movie review for it. Maybe like the Rotten Tomato score and all of that, but no, because everybody probably has seen Lilo and Stitch before. So it's going to be the same thing, only live action. So there's no point. So there's that. On the same day, we're also going to be getting Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. I'm not a big fan of Mission Impossible movies, so I'm not watching this one. Like, there's so many of those movies that come out, and I still haven't seen them to this day. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. We also have another movie that is Karate Kid Legends that's going to be coming out on May 30th. But I'm like, is this the same Karate Kid, like the ones that are in Cobra Kai, like the TV series on Netflix? I don't know. Only time will tell unless we watch the trailer, and then who knows? I still need to watch that series, by the way, Cobra Kai. So, yeah. And then June 6th, definitely watching this one. And we talked about it before. This one is from the world of John Wick, Ballerina. So this is a spin-off series from the John Wick franchise. And yes, we have seen the trailer where John Wick does make a little cameo experience. So even more reasons why we need to check it out. On June 13th, we're going to be getting 2 movies. One is Elio. Never heard of it. But I did hear about the other one, which is How to Train Your Dragon. And that one is the live action. Yeah, that one? No, I'm not watching that one. Again, I haven't even watched the animated series. Can you believe that? Anywho, but then we're back in the movie theaters on June 20th for 28 years later. We already talked about this literally, on December 5th, like 2 episodes ago, but it was a couple of weeks ago for sure when we talked about it. But yeah, no, this one is definitely a must watch, and yes, expect the movie review for this one. In case you didn't listen to last week's episode, 28 Days Later is now available for you guys to rent or buy. So say no to the eBay resellers, because I'm pretty sure some people are still selling those movies for hundreds of dollars. It's not worth it. Just buy it for cheap digitally, and you can watch it whenever y'all want. So there's that. Anywho, the next one on the list, I was surprised again just to see this homegirl coming back in the big screen. But on June 27, we're having 2 movies, but one of them is Megan 2.0. I don't know how this movie did so well. I found it really cringe, but hey, you know, I think that's why people are like, oh my god, this time it's a horror movie based on a robot. And I think that's something we haven't seen in a while, I don't remember, but still, I'm like, it's something different compared to the other horror movies we have seen, so I guess it makes sense. So yeah. And then the next one is F1. I have no idea what this movie's gonna be about, so yeah, sorry unless I've already talked about it. On July 2nd, for sure, I'm going back in the movie theaters again, and this one is going to be for Jurassic World Rebirth. This one, we talked about some of the pictures that we saw on social media where we got to see Scarlett Johansson on there. And this storyline is different from the ones in Jurassic World that we have already seen, like with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. So don't expect that same storyline to intertwine with this movie. But at the same time, I'm a huge Jurassic World fan, so there's that. And then the next one is July 11th. We literally talked about this last week, but it's going to be the Superman movie, and this one is directed and written by James Gunn. I have high hopes in a way for this movie, given that DC movies have not, been doing that great. We'll see if this one will finally change that, hopefully. On July 11th, this is the first time I'm hearing this. Oh my god, this is why we're doing it too. We're going to be getting the Smurfs movie. Didn't we already have one with Neil Patrick Harris, like, long ass time ago? What is this, like a reboot too? Or what's going on? So, yeah, I don't know what to expect unless if they're doing like an animated version of it and not live action like they did last time. So, yeah. That's going to be July 18th. And then July 25th, this one again, I swear to God, I'm going to be in the movie theaters a lot. July 25th is going to be the Fantastic Four, The First Steps. This one is with Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and oh my God, I can't say the rest of everybody's name. But just know, Papi Pascal is going to be making his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I cannot wait to watch that. And then the next one is on August 1st. We have 2 movies. One is The Bad Guys and The Naked Gun. Yeah, I don't know what to do with that information. So, yeah. And then on August 8th, another 2 movies that are going to be premiering at the box office is going to be The Battle of Buckton Cross. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then Freakier Friday. So, Freakier Friday is going to be the sequel for Freaky Friday. I remember when that first came out in the movie theaters, I was a child. So I don't know the storyline whatsoever for Freaky Friday. So if I do need to watch this, I probably need to rewatch the first one. So yeah. On August 29th, we're going to be getting a movie. And I'm assuming it's going to be a horror movie. Why? Because it says the movie is called Thread, an Insidious Tale. I thought we already got up with this series. What's going on? No, why? But yeah, sure, I guess I'm not gonna watch it, or maybe I will just out of curiosity. But again, probably I will probably not do a movie review for this. So yeah. Supposedly this Insidious Tale will be coming out on August 29th, but then on September 5th, literally on Labor Day weekend, we're going to be getting the final movie of the Conjuring franchise, and that will be The Last Rites. So again, you're going to have maybe 2 horror movies back to back, but I don't know about y'all. I probably might watch it just out of curiosity, but I won't like say, oh my God, we need to watch it, this and that. So yeah. And then the next one on the list is on September 26th, which is The Bride. I don't know what that movie is going to be about. And then on September 26th, we have Saw. Why? Did we talk? I think we did talk about it, and I'm giving the same reaction again. Only this time y'all can actually see it. Just out of curiosity, I'm still gonna watch it, so there's that. And then on October 3rd, we have Michael, which I have no idea what it's gonna be about, so there's that. October 10th is gonna be Tron Ares. We talked about this whenever I was at the Houston Horror Film Fest, whenever Disney had their D23 Expo and they made the announcement. I think one of my favorite things about this announcement was that Nine Inch Nails will be composing the music, and I cannot wait to listen to it. So I might watch it. I just still need to watch the previous movies just to, get an idea what's it gonna be about. Yeah, I think I vaguely remember the Tron movies. Just know that. On October 17th, we have 2 movies. We have Good Fortune and The Black Phone 2. I never heard of The Black Phone 1, so yeah. And then on October 24th, Mortal Kombat 2. Yeah, I need to watch that one for sure. I watched the first one. I mean, first one did okay. I'm surprised they're making a sequel out of it, so yeah, hopefully. And then November 7th, I'm definitely watching this one too. Predators Badlands. This one we talked about it before, and we already know that the Predator is actually going to be the protagonist, so he's going to be the good guy. And then on November 14th, we have Now You See Me 3. 3? Already? I only have one. Well, I actually own the first one and the second one. And I'm definitely going to watch this one again just out of curiosity. Yeah, definitely going to watch it, but I'm not probably going to do a movie review for it. And then on November 21st, we're going to have 2 movies. We're going to have The Running Man and then Wicked for Good. Wicked is the sequel, basically. So definitely for sure I'm going to watch Wicked for Good just so I can have an idea how this movie is going to end. And I'm pretty sure they're going to wrap it at 2 parts, but we'll see. And then on November 26th, we have Zootopia 2. I didn't watch the first one, nor I'm going to watch the second one, but for those that have kids are probably going to watch it. And then on December 5th, I'm definitely going to be watching this movie, even though I talked shit about it before. Definitely go listen to that episode, which is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. We're going to get that sequel. And who knows if they're going to expand the storyline for this movie. And I have my thoughts and theories of it. That's why y'all should definitely go check out that episode. But my thing is that, like, as much as I hated the first one, a lot of people probably disagree with my opinion because they loved it. So I'm over here like, I guess. So yeah, even though this movie was bad, I'm still going to watch it because I do love the storyline or like the theories and all of that that's been happening within the video game itself. So I wonder how this is going to do. And also, we got to support Matthew Lielers. So yeah. And then the last movie we have on this list, and it's probably gonna be the last time I'll be in the movie theaters in 2025. That is Avatar: Fire and Ash. So yeah, that movie, like, again, I think, was it this one that we talked about where James Cameron said if Fire and Ash doesn't do well in the box office, he will just probably wrap up the Avatar movie series with that. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know, I can't tell. Like, we saw the teaser trailer and I think we talked about it too, but at the same time I'm like, I'm kind of already bored of Avatar. But then again, the last one that we watched was pretty good. So you know what's funny? I'm not the only one who is not hyped of Snow White. One person literally says, I could tell you right now, no one is excited for Snow White. And another person says, Snow White, really? That's the thing. Like, nobody cares about turning into these animated cartoon movies whatsoever into live action. Like, it was good the first time. We don't need a live action for it. So, I don't know. In other news, in case if you guys didn't know, Jason Momoa will be playing as Lobo in the upcoming movie Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So I'm pretty sure if you guys were to watch the new Superman movie that's going to be coming out later this year, you will get to see a glimpse of Supergirl, and then that's going to lead off into a whole different storyline. And that's where Jason Momoa is going to come in. Honestly, though, if you think about it, this is like top-notch casting. Because if you were to see how Lobo looks in the comics, literally looks like Jason Momoa. So it's perfect. And I'm like, for once, DC, you're doing a good job. So I can't wait to see that. And apparently, there is a saying that, you know, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is scheduled to release on June 26th, 2026. What the hell? But that's if the script gets finalized on time, but not like Batman, just how it's getting delayed in 2027. So there's that. Now let's go ahead and move it along. For those that are fans of Peaky Blinders, so the creator Stephen Knight confirms the upcoming film Immortal Man won't be the end of the franchise. What does this mean? It means that the movie that's coming up is not going to wrap up the storyline from there. So who knows if they're probably going to make a sequel for Peaky Blinders, like in the movie format, or if they're going to continue on the franchise, maybe as a TV series, maybe as a spin-off. And here's a funny story too. I actually started watching Peaky Blinders. I finished watching like so many shows already last year. And now I'm like, what am I going to watch now? And I think a friend of mine recommended me Peaky Blinders. So I'm like, all right, since we were talking about it, let me go ahead and give it a try. I'm still on the first episode, just know that. But I will let you guys know eventually once I finish it. And I'm be like, oh, okay, now I got to watch the movie. So there's that. So yeah, don't fear that this is going to be the end, guys. We're still going to continue having Cillian Murphy here, bringing Tom Shelby like into the screen and into our hearts still. And the last thing I have for you guys in the movies category, since we were talking about Sonic, we already know that Sonic 4 is definitely confirmed. It's going to happen, but the question is, will Jim Carrey return as Eggman? So far they have been already interviewing him and asking him that question, and he said he is open to play the role. He said, quote, "I'm definitely open to the idea. Generally, they come to me with the next idea, and if it sounds fun, I'll do it. I certainly love this crew and I love the fans. There's a lot of really great energy around it." So for sure, Jim Carrey says, "I'm dedicating my soul for Sonic franchise until I'm 90. I mean, which is good. And that's my thing. When people saw Sonic 3, I saw the responses on TikTok and people were saying, yeah, Jim Carrey would not have done it if it wasn't that good. And when people saw the movie, it's like, oh, now we see why he did it. Like, it was beautiful. And I need to watch it ASAP because I saw clips already and I got the movie kind of spoiled for me. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, well, it is what it is. I feel like the movie Sonic 4 will not be complete if Jim Carrey wasn't in there. So hopefully they cast him back. And with that being said, that actually wraps up the movies category. Let's go ahead and dive into television. The first thing I need to talk about is Squid Games. Everybody is talking about it, but for me, I'm telling you guys so that way y'all know what I found out. And I think it's all over the news, so So I think it was Netflix Korea that posted this video in YouTube. So basically, it's just giving a few glimpses of what happened in the mid-credit scene of the final episode of season 2 in Squid Games. And they're introducing the characters that you got to see. However, if you go into the description, of course, it's hyping up season 3. Keep in mind, when you go into the description, it's all in Korean. When you translate it, people were like, wait a second, there's a date in here, and I don't think people were supposed to find out. So far, the teaser is that Squid Game Season 3 is going to be releasing on June 27th. So, and if you were to look up that video now, it says that they deleted it. So, yeah. I don't know if they're going to postpone it. I'm going to be hella pissed because now we're expecting this show to come out on June 27th. And yeah, I'm excited that we're not having to wait like for so many, like 3 years or so for the last final season. Because keep in mind, season 3 will be wrapping up Squid Games. So the fact that we're going to be getting it this year, hopefully on June 27th, is going to be great because some people to this day are pissed of how season 2 ended, but that's my thing. It's like it's a continuation of what's gonna lead up to the events of season 3, and ain't no way they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna do season 2 part 1 and then season 2 part 2. No, fuck that. We don't want that. I don't want that. So I'm glad that they're sticking with this. But yeah, probably mark your calendars for June 27. And I cannot wait to get into the time, and then finally we'll be able to talk about what happened in the series. So yeah, I already want to talk about what happened in season 2, but I can't because a lot of people still haven't watched it. So there's that. Anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. The next thing I have for you guys, it's a possible rumor. And the only reason why I say this is because when I looked up like my sources, not a lot of people have talked about it. So that's my thing, what I do in the podcast. Whenever I talk about something, I confirm with my sources just to make sure that I'm saying things that are legit and not what's been rumored. But because this is something that I really am excited for, I'm like, okay, this is a possibility. So there is a social media account by the name of Comics Gig who said that Marvel Zombies is set to premiere on Disney Plus on October 3rd, 2025. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but it will be amazing if it was, because it will be just in time for Halloween. And given that the schedule, the way how Disney Plus is with their series, imagine if they do premiere like Marvel Zombies around that time and then have those episodes like every Wednesday, every Monday, every Friday, whatever, leading up until Halloween, kind of like what they did with Agatha, you know. So I'm like, who knows? And somebody actually did say on the comment section, hopefully that's not the art. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. They're still gonna mimic the one that we saw with What If on Disney Plus. So yeah, there's that. With that being said, that's the only few things I have for you guys in the TV category. Now let's go ahead and talk about music. And this one is the list of possible new music from bands coming in 2025. I actually got the post from Rockfeed social media. He said bands rumored or confirmed to release new music in 2025. And the list. Oh, the list. I'm like, okay, so you see the list. Literally, we have Korn, Ginger, Lacuna Coil, Deftones, Spirit Box, Papa Roach, Killswitch Engage, 9 Inch Nails, Mammoth WVH. I never heard of them, by the way, but it looks like I'm gonna have to put it on my listen list. And then Shinedown, Motionless in White, Disturbed, Five Finger Death Punch, Bulby, Sleep Token. I swear to God, when Sleep Token releases new music, all hell's gonna break loose. Anywho, then we have Anthrax, Def Leppard, Hailstorm, Gojira, Bullet for My Valentine, 3 Days Grace, Slipknot. I don't know. And lastly, Slaughter to Prevail. Literally, I love how my two favorite bands are like right next to each other. How they met each other and God knows what. And they're going to be touring together this year for Knotfest Australia. So there's that. So he posted the list, right? And literally on the comment section, Rockfeed posted Missy Chevelle. So I'm like, okay. But the more I look at the comment section, I'm laughing. Because All That Remains literally responded to the post saying, dude, ... like, what the hell? Alex Chappell with the eyes emoji. Same thing with Papa Roach. Like, wait a second. Like, we didn't know we were releasing new music this year. One band in particular, which is Our Last Night, he literally just, like, the band commented on there say, Our Last Night full length recorded confirmed right now. I'm confirming it. and then like on Rockfeed they were like, oh hey, we have a new confirmed album coming to you first. So there's that. But yeah, honestly, if you look at this list, there is a possibility that yes, it might happen. For sure, Slaughter to Prevail is gonna release Grizzly this year. We've been craving the new album for so long, and we've been getting like a few sneak peeks here and there, which I actually have videos of. You can tell me I don't care. And then with the most recent song that got released, Lielers, I'm like, oh my god, can we already get the damn album? But yeah, I know Slaughter Prevail for sure is gonna release it. Now everybody else, there is a possibility. I don't know about Slipknot though. That's my thing. Like Slipknot, I know they've been teasing they're gonna release music, but it's more like sessions from what happened during All Hope Is Gone. But either way, even if they do release it, obviously we're gonna be talking about it. Now, everybody else on this list, there is also another possibility. I don't think 9 Inch Nails though is gonna release new music. It could happen, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Sleep Token, it might be a possibility, but at the same time, I don't think so. And I will explain my reason why. So the last album they released, which was Take Me Back to Eden, came out in 2023. So far, I don't think, like, concerning the whole gap, I feel like they need a long vacation before they start recording an album. But because they just wrapped up their UK tour and are in that we're on a break kind of phase, I feel like that is the moment when they will start recording new music. But even if they were to record, let's say now, it might come out in 2026. That's what I think. But at the same time, I could be proven wrong. So we'll see about that. Now, aside from that, Deftones, there is a possibility too that they might release new music. Why? Because they're going to be on tour. I'm going to go see them, by the way. I'm going to go see them in March. So I'm like, we'll see. And I'm surprised Ghost is not on this list. I'm about to... Hold up. What about Ghost? I have a feeling Ghost is going to be coming out maybe with a new album this year. And same thing because they're going to be in that massive world tour. And I'm like, they had the Futures of Warland released last year. So I'm like, there's a possibility. Let me find out though that this is a theory, by the way. Let me find out that Ghost releases the album, right? The Futures of Warland is in there. But he tweaks it, especially on the part where it says, and so let us pray for more in 2024. And instead of 2024, he changes it to 2025. There's a possibility that could happen because when Slipknot released the Chapeltown Brag for the album that just came out with The End for Now, or The End so far, whatever, like I mentioned it before, where the music at one part of the verse was so much different than what it was earlier when it got released as a single. So I'm like, there's a possibility that might happen. I'm not sure. But hey, that's what it is. And that is the list so far. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm pretty sure, like, if there are any other good bands that do release new music, we're probably going to be talking about it. Ooh, I just realized there's another band that he forgot to mention. Bad Omens. We've talked about it last week too. But I know for sure Bad Omens is probably like teasing new music. And we talked about it too whenever we would see like pictures on social media with Noah, like Sebastian with the headphones in a studio room. So I'm like, there's a possibility. So yeah, we'll see, but we'll eventually talk about it. In other news, and this one is a album confirmed so far, not when it's gonna get released, but Jay Weinberg, the former drummer of Slipknot and the current drummer for Suicidal Tendencies, confirmed that he will be making a solo debut album. Now, what does this could possibly mean? My boy can sing? I don't know. And it's funny too because I didn't know he could sing. So this can go so many ways, or maybe kind of do it Apocalyptica style where it's just all instrumental. I don't know what to expect, but at the same time, we're excited. We're going to be talking about it whenever it does get released. And then the last thing I have for you guys in the music category is a countdown by Vans Warped Tour. So this year we'll be marking the 30th anniversary celebration for Vans Warped Tour, and they decided to revive the tour. Again, only a few selected cities are announced, none in Texas, by the way. And so far, I think like 2 venues were actually sold out. They are thinking about opening for more dates, depending on the popularity and how much tickets are being sold. So there's a possibility they might go all around. Who knows? We'll see. But because we're slowly getting closer to them kicking off the tour, they actually posted on their social media that there is going to be a lineup announcement. And with that, they actually added a countdown. The countdown is actually leaning towards a January 27th date. But that could mean so many things because it is Vans Warped Tour. Who knows if it's going to be a mixture of old bands compared to the new. Like new and upcoming. Hell, is Sleep Token, Bad Omens, or Slaughter to Prevail will be in Vans Warped Tour? Oh my god, that would be something. But Vans Warped Tour, I mean, it was a mixture of a lot of music. Like whenever I went back in the days, I forgot what year, was it 2014 or 2015, literally a couple years ago, like 10 years ago. But anywho, Like, there was a mixture of genres that were performing. Like, some of it was hardcore, some of it was screamo, some of it was pop and everything. So I'm like, who knows how this will be? But at the same time, I feel like because it is their 30th anniversary, they should at least have some OGs. Like Panic at the Disco, maybe My Chemical Romance, Paramore. But because they're so big and whatnot, I feel like, yeah, that's probably too much to ask. Now, since it is January 27, whenever the lineup does get announced, there is a possibility I might just mention it during the blog video because I will be out of town during that time. So yeah, we'll probably talk about it during the blog video of when I release it, but it won't be like a regular podcast episode. So stay tuned for that. But that was not the only thing that Vans Warped Tour actually posted on their social media. They actually posted like this person inserting a VHS tape on a TV, and it's recapping all of the moments that happened in Vans Warped Tour through the years. It started like in the early 2000s, making its way until 2019, which was the last time they did Warped Tour. And then now it says Warped Tour 30th anniversary to be continued in 2025. So yeah, that one I saw it on their TikTok channel. So if you guys want to check it out, definitely go for it. And I'm like, when I saw it, I'm like, yeah, it kind of brought some memories. I didn't get to go to like Warped Tour every single year. I only went that one year because when it happened, it was hella hot. And I was like, never again. And this is why I don't do festivals, because when it's hot, I get miserable. I'm like, it will be one thing when it's like a nice day out, it's not humid or possibly a little breeze here and there. But like when that happened, I was like, hell to the fucking no, I'm not doing that again. So yeah, there's that. But I don't know if I would be willing to go to the 30th anniversary. But again, there has to be like a Texas stop. I'm not going to go travel somewhere just for Vans Warped Tour. So yeah, do what you will with that information. And with that being said, that wraps up the music category. Now let's go ahead and talk about gaming. So now I have another list, and this is IGN's best games in 2025. Now, there is a little theory I have for you guys, and that one includes GTA. So kicking off of the list on January 17, we have the video game Dynasty Warriors Origins. So we never talked about this. So yeah, there's that. I think most of these games, we never talk about it. So if you hear the game that you are interested in the date, well, stay tuned for that. So on January 30th, we're going to have Sniper Elite Resistance. On February 11th, there's 2 video games coming out. One of them is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And then the other one is Seth Meyers' Civilization 7. And then on February 14, we have Assassin's Creed Shadow, but that one could possibly get delayed given the fact that there was low record sales, I think, last time I checked. But who knows if it's going to come out perfectly like it was supposed to. Alongside with February 14, there's another video game called Date Everything. Like date. D-A-T-E. I'm actually, let me look that up. Date Everything video game. It says Date Everything is a sandbox dating simulator set in the comfort of your own home, featuring 100 fully voice acted dateable characters. Let the romance flow between your bed, smoke alarm, and overwhelming sense of existential dread. What the fuck? It looks like it's gonna be available on Steam only. But yeah, that is the video game that's going to be coming out literally on Valentine's Day. Yeah, that's pretty weird. Why is this on this list? Anywho, the next one is going to be on February 18, which is Avowed. Never heard of it either. February 21st is Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. February 28th is going to be Monster Hunters Wilds. And then March 6th, we have Split Fiction. And then on March 25, we have Tales of the Shire. On March 27, we have 2 video games. One is Atomfall, and then the next one is the first Berserker, Kazan. But I'm like, I don't think this is Berserker, like, a franchise. I never heard of it. Anywho, and then on literally the next day, March 28th, we have Inzio. And then April 24th, we have Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. And then TBA. This is like, again, it is confirmed for 2025, but no date has been set. We have Metroid Prime 4, which is for the video game Beyond. Then we have Pokemon Legends Z to A. I don't know about that. Then we have GTA 6, which is a possible delay because it was supposed to be coming out on summer 2025. But again, because of how hyped it is and we haven't had any updates so far or another trailer for the video game, I fear that this video game might get delayed. So, yeah. The next one on the list is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. We talked about this, but I was not expecting for it to come out this year. I'm not going to play it because I'm not good at sneaky games. So, there's that. But I'm pretty sure for those that are fans of this franchise is definitely going to play it. And not only they're going to be playing Metal Gear Solid Delta, I'm pretty sure some of you guys are going to be playing Dead Stranding 2 on the beach. That's what it's called, literally. The next one is Ghost of Yote, Fable. We've talked about this one before. South of Midnight. And then this next video game is probably one of the most anticipated one aside from GTA 6, but this is just me. Doom: The Dark Ages. Literally, what more can you want? This is like a definition of like Viking from Slaughter to Prevail. You got the screamo, but yeah, you got the Viking kind of taste, and that's what Doom is gonna bring. So I wonder if Alex Terrible will make a song for this game. We'll see. The next video game is Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. And then we also have Borderlands 4. We already talked about it after the movie flopped the box office. So who knows if this video game will save the franchise. The next one is Skate. We talked about this one too. It's been a while since we've seen skating games come back to the console. So here we go finally. And then Dune Awakening is also going to be coming out hopefully this year. Crimson Desert is another game that's going to be coming out along with Subnautica 2. Which I never heard of. We also have Slay the Spire 2, Hell is Us. Then we have Elden Ring Night Ring. And then Judas, Mafia the Old Country, The Outer Worlds 2, Solasta 2, Dying Light The Beast. Oh, finally a horror game. And then 33 Immortals. And lastly, Lunar Remastered Collection. So yeah, those are supposedly TBA 2025, but hopefully they don't get delayed, given that over here in the video game industry, some of these games tend to get delayed. So we'll see. As long as it's not GTA or Doom, we'll be okay. And speaking of GTA 6, so far, because of the growing fan base and the anticipation that this game is having, they're saying that supposedly GTA 6 is projected to make at least $3 billion. But for sure expected to make at least $1 billion because of pre-orders before it even launches. So it's a really great ass game. So even more reasons why they should not have delayed this game even if they want to. Again, some of the fans are very fearful. It's been a while. It's been a while since we had the last GTA game. It was GTA 5. And because of all of these new updates, people are like, no, we want a new game. We don't want these updates. So hopefully, by June 2025, it's the summertime. Kids are out of school. Hell, I'll take a vacation day if I have to just to play the game. It's going to get very addicting if you ask me. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't get delayed and we will have a really great ass year. So this is a weird collaboration. For once, it is not Fortnite because I know Fortnite has been collaborating with so many things. But I was not expecting for Call of Duty to collaborate with Squid Games. Literally, if you were to go play Call of Duty right now, you actually have the option to have like the Squid Game skin into your characters. So like you can already imagine yourself being one of the players, what they call them, the pink soldiers, and then firing out like your enemies and whatnot. I was actually like this close to actually play it, but I was like, I need to buy the game. I don't even have freaking Call of Duty Black Ops 6, but I was like so close to buying it just so I could try it out. But I was like, nah, for what? Just for that little bit. So no. But if you guys have the game, definitely go check it out, because again, the TV series Squid Game is still what everybody is talking about. So there's that. And that was all I have for you guys in the gaming category. Now let's go ahead and talk about wrestling. The first thing I wanted to talk about in the wrestling category is that Kenny Omega is finally back. You know, war is over, and a perfect way to start the 2025. But they did make the announcement that Kenny Omega will be coming back to AEW Dynamite this coming Wednesday, January 8th. So I can't wait to see that. And I wonder what they're going to do, like, storyline wise. Are they going to put him, like, for him to go up against, like, I don't know, the Jon Moxley, which then again, he's over there feuding with so many people? Or is he going to have his separate storyline where he's building himself back up? I don't know. And I remember I did see, like, right now the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were in Japan. So they're over there doing, what, Wrestle Dynasty in NJPW. So yeah, but I'm glad to see Kenny Omega back. So yay. But yeah, that was the only thing I have for you guys in AEW. Like, I saw the episode from Collision that happened this past Saturday. And tell me why, like, again, like, I mentioned the whole thing with AEW, like, having a messed up storyline. So this past Saturday's episode of AEW Collision, like, again, the storyline doesn't make any sense, but all of a sudden, I'm like, what did I miss? Because now I'm seeing that the Acclaim is beefing it up. And I was like, what is up with all of these tag teams just splitting up and doing their own thing? But it's like, all of a sudden, like, what just happened? Like, since when the Acclaim has been beefing it up, like, it was pissing me off. I'm sorry, guys. And then the other thing that I would see, like, for example, on TikTok, where people were, like, ranking Ricochet's, like, talking, like, it didn't make any sense. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? And supposedly they're saying that is because AEW, like, there is creative freedom, but it's where creative freedom doesn't make any sense. And I was like, what? Like, how? And I get it. Like, I feel like the writers back there could do a good job, but at the same time, it's like they shouldn't let wrestlers, like, freestyle, you know? And it also kind of does make sense why WWE was probably giving opportunities to these wrestlers, but if they didn't execute the promotion, like, really well, then obviously they're gonna get sidelined, and then we get pissed because it's like, bro, like, they're a good wrestler. How come, you know, they're not getting the opportunity? It's because they probably suck behind the mic. So there's that. I'm like, damn. So, like, with Ricochet, for example, like, he's having this weird storyline between, like, the Hurt Syndicate, whatever, and they were talking and whatnot. But then Ricochet, for like a split second, I was like, what is he saying? Like, I didn't get it whatsoever. And then now with what's happening on with the Acclaim, I was like, wait, when are they beefing it up again? And don't even get me started with, like, Jon Moxley and the new group name that they have. I was like, last time I checked, they were the Blackpool Combat Club, and now they're this name called, I literally had to look them up because I didn't know what they were called. They're called the Death Riders now, and I'm just like, what? Like, but it's still like Claudio Castagnoli and then Wheeler Yuta. They're still there with him, but minus Bryan Danielson, and I'm just like, what's going on? But yeah, now they're the Death Riders, so it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know, like, AEW, I get it, like, they were beginning stages, they were doing so well, but for some reason now it just flopped, and that's really hurting them at the same time. Like, they could have done so much better. I mean, they actually are now, like, you're able to watch AEW episodes, like, live on Max. So again, that's one of the things that I was mentioning, where a lot of these things are moving into streaming platforms. I was surprised that they even got on Max. So it's like, oh, well, if you don't have cable but have Max, boom, there you go. Now you can watch AEW. And now, like, with WWE going on Netflix, like, you can still have the opportunity to watch all of these episodes if you didn't have cable. So I'm like, okay, but at the same time, I'm like, AEW, like, get it together at the same time, because if they don't, they're not going to be able to compete with WWE anymore. And I feel like I could have sworn I saw an article from Tony Khan saying that he doesn't think AEW is going to last in the next 10 years for sure. I'm like, damn, but you could have done something with it. Like, come on, man. But anywho, let me go ahead and move it along. So now we're going to be talking about WWE. This past Tuesday, literally right before New Year's, NXT had their 2024 year-end awards. And this list, I was like, okay, we need to talk about it. Literally, the first thing on the list is who is the female superstar of the year. And that was given to Roxanne Perez. Now, for me, I was like, look, I love Roxanne. Good, she's doing this whole thing with, her gimmick and all, but it could be a little better. Like, I can't see her as a heel because she has this sarcastic tone. Because, like, I see her as a good girl more, like, babyface and all. But when I hear her talk, it sounds very cringe. And then with Cora Jade coming back, like, it kind of helped boost that little mood that she needed. But I'm like, come on, Roxanne, you could do so much better. But, oh well. And still, mad props to her for, like, still holding that NXT Women's Champion. But then again, there are a lot of better competitors going after it. So there's that. I was surprised to see Male Superstar of the Year. And that was given to Obafemi. Like, I get it. There is that momentum going on. Especially now that he's going to be going up against Trick Williams soon. And that's going to be one hell of a match. But yeah, like, whenever he had the North American Championship, I think we talked about it before. Like, I didn't understand what the hype was until after he lost it. Once that happened, I was like, oh, hang on. Like, he's actually pretty good. If you ask me, no wonder he was North American Champion. But I feel like I just overlooked it at that point. But no, like, I feel like once we get into 2025 even more, I feel like Obafemi's character can grow even more and possibly could end up in the main roster. At one point, I probably need to see him going up against Amos, if you ask me. Where the hell has he been? So, yeah. Now people are going to start asking questions. And then Tag Team of the Year is Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I don't know. Only because they have been clashing it. And see, the way how they've been clashing, it has a really good storyline compared to the ones in AEW. Because the way how these people are, like, kind of clashing is because Nathan's over there, doing things behind Axiom's back. But then they're still performing really well because they're still good tag teams. And then there's other parts where Axiom would do the same thing. And Nathan Frazier's like, wait a second, how come you didn't tell me? And Axiom's like, well, you do it, kind of like that. And then they're also trying to prove themselves they're worthy of being single competitors too. So it's like, there's that storyline between them that's so entertaining. And I'm like, how come we don't see that in AEW? Like, come on, people, take notes, But again, Tag Team of the Year, sure, why not? Because they are the tag team champs, even though they're having their differences right now. So, yeah. Moment of the Year, I actually do agree with, is Joe Hendry in NXT. Where is my boy now? Like, I want him to be more in NXT. Now that he's back in TNA, I'm kind of sad about it, But him coming in, like, obviously the crowd reaction was something I was not expecting it. I feel like whenever this was happening in NXT, I haven't seen that kind of moment beforehand. Now that I'm trying to think about it. But I'm like, maybe there has been. I just can't remember right now. But for sure, the reaction that Joe Hendry got was really, really good. And then after that, I'm like, I want to see more of Joe Hendry. We believe in Joe Hendry. But yeah, we need him back. Honestly, I feel like this year, 2025, they need to officially put Joe Hendry in the main roster for NXT. This next one, Match of the Year, surprised me. And you'll see why. So Match of the Year was given to Obafemi versus Josh Briggs versus Dijak. And this was in Stand and Deliver for the North American title. And the only reason why I say this, we actually talked about this match. And I was rooting for Dijak. Obviously, I was like, why in the hell is Obafemi still retaining? Stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm like, wait a second. You're awarding Match of the Year to these people, given the fact that Dijak is no longer a part of the main roster. He's no longer part of WWE. And everybody in the comment section, like, obviously one person was like, what happened to Dijak? He needs to come back. Wasn't he drafted to the main roster? And it was true. But apparently, it says here from Amber A-Bomb, I think that's her username, says, I heard he was leaking backstage stuff. And I'm like, that would probably make sense. I don't think it was because, another comment says like, oh, I think his contract expired. But then another person was responding to Amber A-Bomb and it says it was a false rumor. So I'm like, I don't know. It could be so many reasons why. But at the same time, even if his contract expired, like, he could have renewed it. I'm pretty sure Dijak didn't want to get released by WWE because he had a lot of potential. And, you know, if he were to get released or, you know, contract expiring, he was already in the main roster and he was supposed to be in Raw, if I'm not mistaken. I was really excited about that. I was like, if that were to happen, I'm like, good, yay, you know, because Dijak brings in a lot on the table. And again, I wish he would have been North American champion. But I think because of the whole gimmick that happened back then with Retribution and all of that, obviously they were like, oh, we're going to release him. But again, he did the growth. I'm just sad and disappointed that they didn't take advantage of him. So again, it could be WWE or it could be, you know, Dijak himself. But this match, for example, that happened in Stand and Deliver, it was really good. It had me to my toes, basically. So I agree with the winner, but at the same time, I'm like, Dijak deserved a lot of credit for that match. So, and then the last one is, what is the best PLE/television special? And it was given for Stand and Deliver. And yes, I agree. Again, it was literally right before WrestleMania. Anything could happen. And what I mean by that, it will keep you to your toes, it will keep you entertained, and yet still is gonna blow you away. So yeah, I love Stand and Deliver. Obviously it was before WrestleMania, and now who knows if the next one is gonna be the same way. But yeah, it was really good. NXT did pretty well this year, and I mean, let's see how it's gonna happen for this coming year now. So we'll see about that. All right, and then the next thing I wanted to talk about is congratulations are in order for Tiffany Stratton, because she is now the new WWE Women's Champion. So, of course, and I mentioned this last week, I'm like, I know there's going to be something going on with SmackDown. So this is the first SmackDown. I don't even think it has happened before in so many years. But the first SmackDown that is a 3-hour long episode. So I was like, anything goes, because obviously it's the first SmackDown of 2025 and the first one that has a 3-hour long episode. So I'm like, something's gonna happen, and people were already wanting Tiffany to cash in on Nia. I love the reaction for it, because the way how it was gonna happen is supposedly we weren't gonna see her. And Nia was telling Candice LeRae, like, oh, she's probably upset about what happened, whatever. And Candice like, no, like, I'll be in your corner, this, and that. And the way how Candice kind of executed that whole promo, it didn't sit well with me. I'm like, Candice, boost it up a little bit. She's looking like a little awkward person just there, you know. But, okay, so that happened. So Nia came out with Candice. So we were like, oh, maybe Tiffany's not going to cash in. She's not there. But then she showed up out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my God, is she actually going to cash in? Because she's bringing in a ref. So people are like losing their minds, and it's like, oh, finally it's going to happen. But then Nia's over there like getting up, and Tiffany's like, nope, ref, you're going over the barricade, whatever. Like, no. And she was like, no, I'm here, you know, whatever. And she was trying to assist like Nia, whatever. And Nia's like, okay, she's doing that trick again. She's not going to betray me, this, and that. Little did we know. And yeah, she cashed in and won the championship with the help of Bianca in a way. Bianca was like, look, before she cashes in, I'm gonna show off my moves really quick on why I need to be women's champ. But I'm like, I'm sorry, B, like, you gotta move, because like it's Tiffy time. I love Bianca Belair, don't get me wrong, but we need a new women's champion. And who more than Tiffany Stratton, because obviously she's the winner of the women's Money in the Bank, so it makes sense. At the same time, I'm like, I really did love that briefcase. I feel like the briefcase should have had a little bit more like exposure, but at the same time, I'm like, I would not be surprised, and we've seen a video of this before, but I would not be surprised if that title that Tiffany is now carrying turns into pink. And we've seen it too, where Nia just takes like the title from a girl who I think she custom designed it, by the way, and then like Nia gives it to Tiffany, and Tiffany's like, oh yeah, it's a pink belt. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was like that, you know. And for once, we will finally see a custom belt on one of these new championships, because right now it's been the same, but I can see it more with Tiffany, given with the way how she is. Oh my God. I'm about to start my new predictions with Raw on Netflix, but hear me out. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and dive into my Raw Netflix prediction. And one of them is that we're going to be having the World Women's Championship match against Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. My prediction is that Rhea's gonna win. She needs the title already for the same reason that she brings in more compared to Liv Morgan. Like with Liv Morgan's character not able to successfully defend the championship like the way how it's supposed to be, fairly, all of that. And then every time she walks in, it's like, no, like she needs more work. And with Rhea, it will make sense because she's been having that momentum. I don't care. She has more lovers and haters, all of that, right? But hear me out. What if... Oh my god, I would love to see it because we've seen it before during Survivor Series or something, and people were like, we kind of want Tiffany and Rhea together. They're giving the pink and goth vibes, you know? And I'm like, what if Rhea ends up winning the championship and then we have that goth and pink vibes with just women's champion? Papa H, book it, please. It will be the perfect time to do it because, oh my god, that it will be so hilarious. Oh, but yeah, just hear me out. That would have been a perfect time. So I'm hoping Rhea does end up winning and then we enter 2025 in a really good mommy era. Come on, we need it. The other thing I also wanted to talk about that's going to be happening on Raw on Netflix, and this is probably the most interesting thing. So in case you missed Raw this past Monday's episode, they actually confirmed that Pentagon Jr., also known as Cero Miedo, is confirmed to be in WWE. Why do I say this? Because they uploaded this video where we see the 0 with the slash, and then all we see is literally Penta's mask on the screen. And I was like, that would have been something if, like, you know, he were to show up and the pop would be just going insane. Pentagon Jr. were to be debuting on Raw. Everybody really, and including me, everybody wants Penta to be staying away from any factions whatsoever. He needs to do his own thing. Honestly, Pentagon Jr. can do anything storyline wise. I mean, we've seen it with AEW. He just shows up, beats the crap out of you, and then so forth. And yeah, with him signing with WWE, there's so many things you can do with that storyline. And I feel like Penta really does have something going on. So yeah, like his attitude, the way how he is, I'm like, hell, he even went up against Chelsea Green, didn't he? I want to say he did. Well, he went up against Io Sky for sure whenever it was Lucha Underground. So I'm like, if they made it to the top, he can too. Shit, book it, literally. The other thing that has been confirmed is that John Cena will be kicking off his farewell tour. So yeah, in case you guys missed out, John Cena made the announcement that he will be retiring from professional wrestling literally at the end of 2025. So now that he's coming back, there's so many things that could happen in a span of a year, but I feel like there's not going to be enough time to cover it. Now, will he be coming in full-time or will he be coming part-time? And if he were to be coming full-time, how many storylines can he cover? And what I mean by that is, will he have like a championship opportunity, or is he building himself from the bottom up? So like, I feel like with him too, he wants to wrestle literally almost everybody in the roster just so he can have that opportunity one last time. But at the same time, I'm like, bro, you could also possibly break the record of the most title ship reigns in WWE history, because right now he's tied with Ric Flair. So that could possibly happen. I don't know. They already are selling his merchandise, by the way, at the WWE website. So if you guys are interested on buying it, go for it. But yeah, me, honestly, like, I want to see John Cena in a really good storyline. Not just one where he just shows up to defend people. Like, I don't know if... I don't think that's going to happen. Like, him going up against the Bloodline, but not really. Like, probably reason between either like whoever's against the Bloodline and the one supporting him. I don't know, there's so many things you can do. I trust Papa H's like strategy, so let's see how that's gonna be. The other thing that we also need to talk about is Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, and this one's gonna be a tribal combat match. So I feel like this storyline is gonna be settled for good. But there is another thing we also found out before we started recording this episode. So The Rock confirmed that he's going to be making an appearance on Raw on Netflix. So that can only mean that either he's going to be involved in this match, meaning that he's either going to interrupt it in the middle of and probably show his little true colors, that he's going to go up against Roman Reigns, because that's something that we've been wanting to see for WrestleMania for sure. And this was planned 2 years ago. It just didn't happen. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? I don't even know anymore. But that's another thing. So if you think about it, given with everybody that has been injured so far, there is a possibility that we might. And it was funny, I just realized something. Jimmy Uso is back because he was fighting. Like it was him and Jay and Sammy going up against, Solo, Jacob, and Tamatonga. But I was like, my boy, didn't you have a broken toe? But at the same time, we don't need Tangaloa anyways. But I was like, well, if you think about it, right now we kind of have like a good amount of numbers in a way if you were to minus Sami Zayn. But like Roman and Rock has to happen. And in order for that to happen, Roman should have to win this tribal combat match against Solo, only for The Rock to actually try to take that away from him. It will make so much sense. So that is my prediction that, possibly that Roman is probably going to win this match. But again, we're going to continue on until WrestleMania. So it makes sense probably, but that's who I'm rooting for. And then we also have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. So this storyline is a little bit complicated, only because not only they're over there talking shit about the bloodline, but also a little bit ego on there, because CM Punk was the face of the company like back then, and now it's Seth. And the thing that they want to highlight was because the reason why CM Punk left was because he wasn't a fan of Vince McMahon. But Vince McMahon was a fan of Seth Rollins, so there's that. And my thing is that this match could be a little iffy. Why do I say this? Is because as much as a lot of people might want CM Punk to win, he might lose given the fact that, he's old and rusty. But don't come at me. There's also a possibility CM Punk will be able to defeat Seth Rollins. I mean, come on. It could happen. Like, my boy lost to Cody Rhodes before, so he could probably lose to CM Punk as well. So my thing is that, technically speaking, I am rooting for CM Punk to win. But at the same time, I don't know what's going to happen with Seth Rollins, so we'll see on that. And then the other match is Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. Again, there is tension going around there. Unless there is a possibility that Cody Rhodes might interfere. And I only say that was because of what happened this past Friday night on SmackDown, where Cody was talking to Drew. And even Drew comes in and hugs Cody all awkward and shit. But then, like, Drew comes out of the ring, and then he's like, oh, one thing I know is to always watch your back, whatever. And then Cody turns around, and then boom, Kevin Owens is over there, kicking him, doing all of that. But that was Drew, right? So it looks like Drew ended up uniting with Kevin Owens, and because of that, it will make sense if Cody were to, like, backstab Drew just for a bit. But at the same time, I'm like, Jey Uso got this. He don't need nobody's help. So I'm really rooting for Jey Uso to win. So there's that. I feel like there are more other things that are going to be happening now that Raw's going to be on Netflix, but not just the matches wise. I hope they finally kill like the boring, bland ass matches. Right now, for this first episode that's going to be coming out on Monday, I know it's going to be entertaining, so I cannot wait. And with that being said, that wraps up this week's episode. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on my TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. Let's see, hopefully, how this will turn out when it comes to like video and all of that, because again, I do everything, so it can be time consuming. But at the same time, again, don't expect this podcast to be like literally religiously released on certain days. So some days it might be uploaded like on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. And then if it uploads on a Sunday, even better. So we'll see on that. And then, of course, I know this week, again, it was really short. There really wasn't that much. But I feel like, again, next week for sure, we're going to be talking about the results of what happened on Raw and Netflix. And then maybe, hopefully, AEW snaps out of it. But we're going to be talking about more other things. Some things that you may have missed in pop culture, because anything can happen. throughout the week. So there's that. More announcements. Who knows? Everybody's back on break. Other than that, I'm glad that you guys sticked around, and let's see what else we're gonna bring in this year. So as always, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.